Hello, today I am talking about engagement. Engagement on social media and 3 ways that you can make sure that you get more engagement on your posts, whether that's on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. These are my top tips, so stay tuned. So, we all know when it comes to our social media posts, engagement really help us. They help us to reach more people and they help us to know that we're on the right track. So, there's a few things that we need to do to make sure that we are getting engagement. And these are the common mistakes that I often see people not doing. And they're saying to me, Jenny, my posts don't work, and I'm not getting any engagement. What is it? So, the first thing that really, really matters about getting engagement with our ideal clients and our audience is making sure that we know where they're at and what they're struggling with at the moment. So, if you are able to emotionally connect in that way that you know where they're at, so either in your copy or go live and talk about it. And I know sometimes people go, I don't want to go live, I don't want to do video, I can't bear it. That's fine. But actually, it really helps sometimes. It really helps people to get to know you. And your ideal clients, your ideal paying clients, are your friends, and they won't mind if you're not perfect at all. So think about how you can connect with where they're at now, what problems they've got. So once you understand that, once you get that moment where they're like, oh my gosh, it's like she's looked through my window and she knows what I'm struggling with, it really helps people to get that engagement. Now, the other reason that people don't, there's a lot of reasons that people don't engage. So you need to understand where your audience is at the moment. Are they still very new to you? Are they still shy? Are they not feeling safe enough to engage? And that's why groups work really, really well, because half the time they're a small community, they're sort of enclosed a little bit, and so people feel safer. So you have to work in order to make people feel safe enough to engage. And sometimes that means asking and asking and asking and asking and showing up even when there's no when you get crickets, but keep going and keep asking, because that makes a massive difference. Because sometimes people need to be invited a couple of times to engage and to do stuff. And there's a lot of times that I will get new clients who will say to me, "Oh, Jenny, I've been following you, and I watched you say this, and you said this, and that really helped me." And I'm thinking, where have you been? You're not even on my radar, because they haven't felt that they could engage or comment. And it's only after they've started to work with me and they know me that then they actually engage and comment even more. So that really, really helps. One thing that I would say, like sometimes people go, okay, I want more engagement, so I'm going to go and ask all my friends to like and comment on my posts. And I would be a bit careful with that. And the reason that that I would be careful with that is purely because the algorithm is really super clever, and the algorithm likes to show people things that they might like. So if your friends and your family and the people you're asking to comment aren't your ideal client, there's a good chance that Facebook's algorithm is going to go, oh, that person likes that, this person's like that person, I'm going to show them that, and you'll end up with more crickets. So be a little bit careful with that, but just keep going. The engagement at the moment, especially like now we're in August, and one thing that I'll often say is summer and social media don't always mix, especially for us equestrians. We're busy. Do you know what I mean? We now have longer days. We've got to get out there and fix all those fences that got trashed over winter. We've got to go and make sure everything's ready for next winter. We want to be riding our horses. It's too hot half the time during the day, so we might be riding later into the evenings. And the last thing we want to be doing is sitting scrolling on social media. So on a sunny day, there's likely to be less engagement. I will warn you about that. Don't think it's that your content is always rubbish, because sometimes your content is, but sometimes it's just one of those things. And yeah, at the moment we've had a really, really tough year, and people aren't in a good place, so they're not likely to engage and not in a good place. But on a rainy day, social media will be much better, because people are sitting inside. So do be aware of that, and don't beat yourself up over it, but keep showing up regardless. So tap into their emotions, tap into their problems in your social media posts. It will really help to boost your engagement. The other thing that really, really matters when it comes to social media is try and think, okay, what do they love and what will they rave about? And make your posts about them. And this is something that I often see, especially like when I'm working with new clients, and I'll say, well, it's great. And they're like, well, it's all about your business. It's all about your business. And they're like, but that's what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm marketing my business. And everything's got to relate back to my business. No, it hasn't. Not really. Not everything has to. It's got to be relatable to your ideal client. It's got to be about them first. And in showing up and saying that you get them, that you're like them, that will really help. So talk about things that you know you've got in common. So sometimes I will talk about my backstory, like how I was a kid and I wasn't allowed to go riding, and I begged my parents to go riding. And every time I tell those stories from when I was little, and I was 11 years old before I was allowed to go horse riding, and I plagued my parents from the age of 7 or 8 to go riding. Like, I was serious about it. I had a pony club in the garden. We had gymkhanas every weekend. I'd make my friends come over. We'd have hobby horse gymkhanas, and I'd dress up, and I had all the joggers, and I had my boots, and I had my hat, I had everything, and I never was allowed to go riding. And they'd drag me around the supermarkets and the high street, and my sister would be like, "Oh, she's so embarrassing. She doesn't even go near a horse." And when I talk about those stories, a lot of the time people will go, yeah, that's me too. I didn't get into horses when I was little until I was older, or I might talk about things like how it feels to be a mum sometimes, and how I struggle, and some of my clients can relate to that. And I might talk about people telling me that I needed a real job. And a lot of my clients and a lot of my people that follow me who are also entrepreneurs will understand what I mean when you've got well-wishing family telling you to get a real job. So even though I'm not necessarily saying to people, right, I do this and I do that, and you can work with me, and you can book a social media, you can book a call, and we can have a strategy session, and we get, actually in showing up and coming on board with as where they're at, I get more engagement, and they remember me and they like me. And when people like you, they're more likely to work with you. So don't be afraid to have a little bit of a fun with your social media. And I'm sure you'll remember some of the big brands do this really, really well. So sometimes they'll post silly things about adding in emojis, or they'll post a meme or something funny, or they'll one that I always find works really well is when you talk about kissing horses on the nose, or that smell that you get when you stick your nose right in their neck, and it takes you back to like that moments when you first got near a horse, and that smell and brings up all those emotions. So don't be afraid to meet them on common ground. So it's not about, this is my business, this is my business, this is my business. It's actually about, oh, look, we're really alike. This is fun. This is useful. So the things that you can repost, and you can entertain people. Don't be afraid to entertain people on social media. They love it. So anything that's entertaining, anything that's educational will also really help. Quizzes, polls, questions. Asking questions. Sometimes the simple stuff can really, really help. You'll often see people asking, which do you prefer? Like if you are an instructor, you could say to people, are you a skullcap type person or do you like a traditional riding hat? And see what people say. You know, it's still to do with your business in a certain level. You might ask people like how they compete, what do they do? And they're likely to come back and answer. They're easy questions to answer. The thing is, though, if you're posting questions, especially if they're questions to help you do market research, like sometimes I'll ask people what they're struggling with at the moment. Give them some easy answers. Give them some easy answers. This really makes a difference. If you've asked a question that actually the answer is quite complicated, people are less likely to answer because they just don't. They just like either they're going, I haven't got time to answer that. I can't think about that. Whereas actually, if you said, which one are you? A, such and such. B, this. C, that. People are able to go, oh, yeah, I'm A or I'm B or I'm a C, or they'll actually, their brain will be thinking through those things and then they'll be able to give you a decent answer. Whereas if you ask a really open question, or if you ask 2 or 3 or 4 questions, you probably won't get a response. So I will let you know, make it really easy for them to engage. Make it, and that also brings me on to make sure that the call to action, if you want the engagement, tell them you want to comment, tell them to like it, tell them to share it. Yeah, it's okay to do that, or say, leave me a question in the comments. If you want this, type yes. That works really well because people know what to write. And sometimes, have you ever been stuck there where you've looked at a social media post and you're going, I'd like to say something, but I can't quite think of what to put, or I'm a bit frightened. So tell them, say, give me a yes in the comments, give me a hands up, give me an emoji, drop me an emoji. Make it really, really easy. And so then that's always anything that involves talking about the problems that people are facing at the moment, and the solutions that you've got will also really help. So I hope this has been a useful episode for you, and it's got you sort of thinking, okay, how can I get that engagement? Because it really matters. So the first thing about engagement also, we know this from riding horses, you can't get engagement without the rhythm. You can't get engagement without the rhythm. So make sure that you post regularly. Make sure that you're consistently showing up. It will help. As I say, people have to get into that stage when they feel like they're ready. So don't be afraid to keep showing up. And that then brings me on to an extra bonus tip as well, actually. Bonus tip for you. When you write your posts, especially if you're on Instagram, the first part of your post is what hooks people in. So make sure that you get that right. Add a good hook. Questions work really well. If it's going to be a long post, break it up like as many breaks as possible so it's easy to read. Remember, people are reading it on a phone. That screen is tiny. That screen is really tiny, right? So if you've got lots of text, it's really hard to read. So break it up into lots of skimmable content. Make it really easy to skim read, and then you'll get more engagement as well because they can read it. And that worked with one of my clients recently. I said, that piece you've written is awesome, but I can't read it. And that could be stopping you getting the engagement purely because people go, oh, I can't, my eyes don't. My eyes can't, I just can't. I don't know if you've ever been in that position, excuse me, where you've just looked and thought, I can't read it because there's too much text bunched together, too small. So break it up because that will also help to make sure that you get those likes, those comments. If you got value from this, if you get results, I want to know, like if this worked for you, if you got a great tip from this, please do let me know. Please leave me a comment. Please leave me a review. Because I would love to know if this was useful. And if you'd like any more help, please have a look at my website, jennybush.com. Also, the equinebusinessassistant.co.uk is also my website, so that will go to the same website. But I found that people struggle to write equine business assistant. There's too many S's. It's just too many S's. So I made it simple with Jenny Bush, that's Jenny with an I.com. Have a look at my website. I work with people one-to-one. So if you'd like a strategy session Or if you'd like to join my Nail It Mastermind, which is my group, and we meet every single week for accountability. There is training, there is brainstorming sessions, there's loads of cool stuff in the Nail It Mastermind. Or if you think that you need more support with your business and breaking in your equestrian business is the bootcamp for you, have a look at jennybush.com, and in the work with me sections you'll find out all the different ways that I could help you and your business. So I will see you really, really soon, and thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye.